A few hours after walking out of the theater, I'm still processing my thoughts on Alien Romulus. It wasn't a bad movie by any stretch, far from it, but it didn't quite hit the mark I was hoping for. It was, okay, I guess. Right from the start, it's clear that director Fede Alvarez aimed to pay homage to the entire Alien franchise. It feels like he examined every leftover idea from previous films and tossed them all onto the screen. Fans of the series will recognize nods to Alien, Aliens, Resurrection, and even the more controversial Prometheus Covenant entries. If you've been following the franchise closely, you'll likely enjoy the numerous Easter eggs sprinkled throughout, from sound effects to reused dialogue. However, this nostalgic approach is a double-edged sword. The plot is straightforward, as you'd expect from an alien movie, a group of people exploring a space station. It's a scenario we've seen before, but Alvarez adds some fresh twists with the use of temperature and gravity, elements not heavily explored in previous films. These aspects, along with plenty of well-timed jump scares, kept the tension high. I'm not usually a fan of jump scares, but they worked surprisingly well here. The performances in Alien Romulus are a mixed bag. The two lead actors, Cailee Spaeny and Jonsson, deliver strong performances. Spaeny, in particular, carries the movie with a silent strength and subtle intensity that draws you in. Her character, Rain, might remind some of a young Ellen Ripley, but she brings enough of her own personality to avoid feeling like a direct copy. Jonsson's character, Andy, also stands out, especially in the way his relationship with Rain provides an emotional anchor for the story. Unfortunately, the rest of the cast is rather forgettable. They serve their purpose as fodder for the xenomorphs but don't leave much of an impression. There's also the curious inclusion of a beyond-the-grave role for one actor, which left me unsure of how to feel. It was an interesting choice, but I'm not convinced it added much to the overall story. Visually, Alien Romulus is a treat, especially if you're a fan of the original Alien aesthetic. Gone is the sleek, clean world of Prometheus. Instead, we're back in the gritty, 70s-style retrofuturistic world that made the original films so iconic. The world building is excellent, with the grimy, industrial look of the space station adding to the film's atmosphere. It's a world that feels lived in, dangerous, and entirely appropriate for an alien movie. However, while the film successfully ties together the threads of the previous films, both the proper Alien movies and the newer Prometheus sidestep, it raises a troubling question: where does the franchise go from here? The xenomorph, once shrouded in mystery, has been thoroughly explored over the years. With each new entry, more of that mystery is stripped away. Alien Romulus attempts to inject new life into the franchise, but it's hard to shake the feeling that the well of ideas is running dry. Alien Romulus is, without a doubt, a product of its time. The modern filmmaking techniques and special effects are impressive, and the visual language is excellent, with some striking shots that stay with you long after the credits roll. But there's a downside to the film's reliance on nostalgia. While some references to the previous films are clever, others feel forced and even cringeworthy. For example, the movie occasionally lifts dialogue and scene composition directly from Alien and Aliens. These moments are intended as throwbacks, but they sometimes feel like a crutch, preventing the film from establishing its own identity. It's a delicate balance, honoring the past while forging a new path, and Alien Romulus doesn't always get it right. Despite these criticisms, Alien Romulus is an engaging sci-fi horror film that delivers on many fronts. The third act, in particular, is a white-knuckle ride that stands out as the film's strongest sequence. It's in this final stretch that the movie finally matures, shedding some of its homage-heavy trappings to become a more standalone experience. For the first time since the original Alien, I found myself genuinely gasping in shock. The use of practical effects and realistic miniatures is another highlight. In an age where CGI often dominates, it was refreshing to see the filmmakers rely on practical techniques to bring the xenomorphs to life. The space scenes, too, are beautifully shot, with a level of detail that immerses you in the world of the film. Alien Romulus is a solid entry in the franchise, but it's not without its flaws. It's a film that both honors and is weighed down by its predecessors. While it offers a thrilling experience with plenty of nods to longtime fans, it also struggles to carve out its own identity. The over-reliance on nostalgia and recycled elements from previous films prevents it from reaching the heights of the original Alien or Aliens. In the end, Alien Romulus is a movie that will likely satisfy fans of the franchise, but it leaves a lingering question: is there anything left to explore in the Alien universe? Or has the time come to finally let the xenomorph rest? Only time, and perhaps another sequel, will tell.